What brought you over to the Tampa Bay area?
So this is the 6th Chamber of Commerce that I've actually worked for.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
And it's a passion of mine that I want to help people in business to be successful, and just be connected with the right people, be in the right place at the right time, or as I like to say, put yourself in the right place at the right time.
Welcome to the Skittle Squad podcast, your one-stop shop for LGBTQ plus Tampa Bay and beyond events, local news, nonprofits, and local businesses. And of course, what we love doing most, talking to our guests, movers and shakers in the community. My name is David Smith, and I'm with my co-host.
I'm Paul Pfeiffer.
Paul, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So
Awesome.
I see you've got a new t-shirt today.
Oh, I do. Allegedly have a new t-shirt.
Allegedly,
I have a new t-shirt.
So is that I've heard allegedly a million different times. So is that kind of like the excuse where you can kind of be like, allegedly I heard, and it's that basically give you carte blanche to say whatever you want?
So I feel like this came from, this was like several years ago. Kathy Griffin came to town and did her comedy show. And I went, and it was so freaking hilarious. Like, I was literally in the aisles crying with laughter because it was so funny.
She's wonderful.
But she talks about celebrities a lot, and she always says allegedly.
Yes.
So I feel like that came from her.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
And then it's just kind of gravitated towards our community. So
Yeah.
I will use
Allegedly.
when I'm talking about someone.
Yeah, I think I forgot about allegedly. I usually will say something like, well, I heard from somebody, but I'm not sure.
Right.
I'll kind of say it like that.
But allegedly is so easy.
Oh, I love that. Allegedly.
It's like allegedly.
Allegedly, I heard.
Yeah.
So allegedly, I heard that there is 5 or 6 new astronauts that we have that just recently went to space.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the Blue Origin launch?
I did, and I have thoughts.
Okay.
So do you want to hear my thoughts?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, and I have several thoughts, so it's going to take me a second to get them all together. So here's the thing. When did we become so entitled? You know what I mean? Because it seems like we're at a time now where people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't afford, what everyone likes to say, the price of eggs. Housing costs are sky high. Mm-hmm. People can't afford groceries. They can't afford insurance anymore. They can't afford a whole bunch of things. Mm-hmm. And they're struggling right now. And then you've got this elite group of women who go up in space, and I'm sure Jeff Bezos' fiance didn't pay anything for hers, but the rest of them, I think they paid like $500,000?
That's a great question. I did check into that, and apparently I don't think anyone paid. At least Katy Perry and Gayle King, I know for sure, did not pay anything.
Okay, well, because it was allegedly a trip to space.
Yeah, well, they're now allegedly astronauts, but, obviously supporting them. But also the FAA did actually chime in and say, no, they're not astronauts.
Yeah. No, they're not astronauts. They're tourists.
They're space tourists. Yes, they're space tourists.
They're space tourists.
Yeah,
if
for
they
sure.
even went to space. I mean, there's still questions of whether or not they even actually went, or whether it was a big.
They went 62 miles above Earth. When officially is it space?
Allegedly. I'm saying that they didn't go at all. Like, I'm saying it was a whole staged event. And they didn't really go at all.
They could have had black screen or green screen on all of those windows in there. And they could have just showed the Earth.
Bezos wanted some publicity because he's, a narcissist. Even though I am an Amazon shopper and I'm an Amazon addict, so I really shouldn't call him a narcissist. But let's call it like he is. He is
I need
a
my
narcissist.
packages today.
He is
anyway,
a narcissist.
Go ahead.
But the whole thing around the entitlement part is when they interviewed Gayle King. She was, with the backlash and everything that they were getting, she was like, well, have you been to space? And I'm like, what a bitch. I'm like, hello. I'm like, that is the most entitled response
Wow,
ever.
I did not hear that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I was like, Oprah Winfrey would be ashamed of you right now. Like, seriously.
Well, I think really with Gail, because, you know, I watched all of the coverage up to, I watched the launch.
Yeah.
I watched when they landed and then they opened the door, then they shut it, and then they let Jeff Bezos go in and reopen the door.
Right.
Saw all of that. But I think a lot of what I saw them focusing on with Gail was she was just really nervous. And so she was really nervous. She got Oprah's authorization or approval or blessing or whatever happens in the Gail/Oprah world, which, I wish I was, you know, I wish I had an Oprah. Anyway, Paul, will you be my Oprah?
I will be your Oprah, but I'm not being in a allegedly lesbian relationship with you. But yes, I will be your Oprah.
Oh, okay. Yay. But I think Gail really just lost focus of like really what was going to happen when she got back.
I think it was that. And there were like scientific signs of what happens when you're actually in space that did not happen when you see it televised and they were in the capsule and so on and so forth. So I think there's a lot of questions around
if they really even went.
Did they even really go?
Well, you know, there's a huge conspiracy about the 1962 launch to the moon. Like they're saying well, that really never even happened either.
Right. So now we're hearing it about this.
Wow.
But
okay.
This is a little different because I don't understand how was it 5 women or 6 women?
It was 6. A total of 6
women.
Yep.
Who've had no training whatsoever can go up into space, because I think everyone who has gone through or did the same thing, similar thing. Like I think William Shatner did it and some other people, some other celebrities have done it. I think they went through extensive training before they
Maybe they went 64 miles up. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. It's just a little sus to me.
Well, I know they did say that they had to show up 2 days prior to launch for training, but I think that was really promotional videos.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, training / promos.
Maybe I'm skeptical, but
no, I loved hearing this. I love hearing this. Yeah.
I'm just like, you know, and Wendy's. So have you ever been on Wendy's, the restaurant, their X feed or Twitter feed?
Okay. I've heard
their
things
social
about
media
it.
manager is like off the chain because Katy Perry posted something about the space trip and Wendy's posted back, can we send her back?
My goodness.
That made me think of, you know, this question was, if there was a celebrity that you wanted to send to space and not come back, who would you choose?
Oh, this is a great question. Now, who is your celebrity you would send?
Okay, so I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. So, you know, but right now I'm so over David Archuleta.
Oh, really?
And the reason why is because I feel like when a celebrity comes out of the closet, it's like they try so hard to be relevant once they come out of the closet that they kind of get overexposed. And everybody is like, oh, gaga, it's all David Archuleta, David Archuleta. And I'm like, I do not see the appeal of this guy.
Well, I remember when he first came out on American Idol, he was really cute. Is he cute anymore? What was that, 30 years ago?
I don't think he's cute at all.
Oh, okay. You never thought he was cute.
I don't see what the appeal is.
Okay.
I mean, Morgan Le Fay loves him.
Oh, okay.
So, because I had mentioned it to Morgan Le Fay,
I guess
and she was like,
you soon.
He was like, what? So I would send David Archuleta up, and hope that he would never come back because he's just annoying to me.
Now, this might be a controversial too, and I bet you would never guess this in a million years, but I know immediately who I would send out.
Who?
And they're very popular on ABC, Michael Strahan.
Oh, yeah. He's annoying.
Cannot stand him.
He's annoying.
He feels so unauthentic.
Yeah.
Like when he was filming Password while he was still doing their morning show, I mean, he was so exhausted. He just was his energy just comes off as I'm here for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And he's on all of their sports things and on, you know, he's everywhere. I guess some people like him.
I feel like he and Kelly Ripa could be both put in there and shot up into space and never come back. They could do their own like talk show.
Now, what about Kelly's husband, Mark Consuelos?
No, he's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine.
okay.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with him. But there are just some celebrities that they're like, I will never, like, for example, I will never watch anything that Jack Black is in.
Oh, interesting.
Only because I just don't find him to be talented. I just I don't see what all the hubbub, is about with him.
That makes sense.
So I will never watch a Jack Black movie because I just don't see what the appeal is. So sorry, guys. It
Going back to Kelly Ripa, I actually really loved her when she was on with Regis.
Really?
Yeah, she was on with Regis. It was a very authentic, a real great relationship that they had. And, being an empath, I pick up on energies and things like that. And then as soon as Regis left, her energy completely shifted, and she... Honestly, I think the network put a lot of pressure on her to bring in the ratings. She brought on Michael Strahan, and then she's honestly feels like she's never been the same person since.
Well, I mean, ego.
True.
She's got an ego for sure.
Yeah, she really does.
Yeah.
I remember when COVID was happening, they were filming from home, and she had to film from one of her vacation homes, and she was just so annoyed.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard when you have to film from your home in Aspen.
Oh, my God.
So, anyway, I don't know for sure if she has a home in Aspen.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, they were on vacation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we bring in our first guest?
Let's bring in our guest.
All right. So we're going to be speaking with Rene Cantu. He is the president of the LGBT Chamber here in Tampa. And we'll be back in just a couple moments. Welcome back. Today's guest is Rene Cantu. He's the president and CEO of the Tampa Bay LGBT Chamber. He's a passionate leader with nationwide chamber background who's dedicated to building connections really all across our LGBTQ plus community. Welcome, Rene.
Thank you, guys.
We are
Thank you guys
excited
for
to have
having
you
me.
on today.
So I'm excited that I'm sitting in the spicy chair.
Yeah.
Yes, that we call that the hot seat.
It is. I'm thrilled.
So when you were listening to our hot topics, any final thoughts from you on all of that spice that we were dishing out?
All I will say is that I'm Mexican, so spicy anything really kind of does it for me.
Awesome.
Particularly the food, and that was a very enlightening conversation.
Okay, well, I always tell everybody, be careful, on the show because I have no filter. So anything can come out of my mouth at any time. So
is it just on the show that you don't have filter? Or?
No, I mean, I'm like that in real life too.
Well,
I have seen people turn around and cry.
You made people cry?
Allegedly.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in podcasting.
No, just in real life, not here.
Right, real life.
Right.
Yeah. Paul knows how to serve it, and he's real. Allegedly. All right. So, let's just talk a little bit about your journey here. So you were working with chambers in Texas and in South Florida over in Fort Lauderdale. What brought you over to the Tampa Bay area?
So this is the sixth Chamber of Commerce that I've actually worked for.
Oh, amazing.
Wow.
Okay.
And it's a passion of mine that I want to help people in business to be successful. And just be connected with the right people, be in the right place at the right time, or as I like to say, put yourself in the right place at the right time, and find opportunities for people. So I started with the Greater Corpus Christi Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Then when I moved to Houston, I worked for the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Then I moved to Fort Lauderdale and worked for the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce. And then after the chamber, it was Equality Florida, which is more business outreach work. And then I did some work for the Pride Chamber in Orlando. So this opportunity came up when I left Equality Florida.
Okay.
And I just jumped at it and applied and started out as a VP with no president on staff at the time. And then eventually took the lead in the position. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, we were talking a little bit earlier, and just by pure coincidence, your 1-year anniversary for Tampa is today.
It is. I believe that my good friend Joe and I were driving my truck with my stuff this very weekend.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, well, welcome 1 year. You made it.
I made it. I passed.
So in working with all of the other chambers and all the other cities, what did you find maybe unique or different about the Tampa Bay area and the community here?
So one of the things that I really like about Tampa Bay is first of all, it's expansive. You know, there's Tampa, there's St. Pete, Sarasota, but there's such a different personality in each of those communities that it's kind of throwing yourself into the middle of it. And learning what it's all about and who are the movers and the shakers and getting the feel for the personalities of it, of them all. You know, the Tampa community is a little bit more sort of corporate, serious. St. Pete is more sort of laid back. I compare it a lot to Austin in Texas. There's sort of that cool.
It's like a beach town vibe.
A cool kind of artsy, cultural vibe. Very kind of laid back. It's great just kind of walking up and down Central Avenue and getting to know some of the businesses that are there. So
yeah, Central Avenue in St. Pete really is amazing. So it's interesting because, you know, you're kind of combining and blending these two communities together with your initiatives. And it's interesting because we just had a poll that we released and we're waiting for the results. But the poll question was, if there wasn't a bridge between Tampa and St. Pete, would you make that commute? Because we're finding all of the time, at least Paul and I, you know, if there's maybe some people that live in St. Pete and there's an event in Tampa, they won't go over the bridge. And we're really trying to understand the psychology behind that. So how have you been, or what are you doing to kind of like bring these two different communities together? Because we are geographically really in the same area.
Yeah, so therein lies one of the biggest challenges, I think, for the chamber, because the chamber covers a 7-county area.
Oh wow!
So I mean, literally Sarasota, Manatee County, they're all part of.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Lakeland is even part of our service area. So you know, the challenge for us is, where do we host our events? You know, where we can get the maximum number of people that to come out. And you know, pie in the sky, I would love it to, you know, be able to host it anywhere and all of our members will always go.
Right.
That's not going to happen. So we're really strategic about making sure that we host events in Tampa, host events in St. Pete, host events in Sarasota, and really kind of make our presence known. Because our you know, the big picture is that we want people that are part of the LGBT business community, whether they're business owners or allied business owners, or if they work at bigger companies but they are part of the community. We want them to know that we're here. We want to be a resource. We want to be a place for people to come together as business people that are part of the LGBT community, to really get to know each other and network and really build a strong community of like-minded individuals.
So are you still kind of testing where's the best location, or do you have locations that maybe have better turnout than others?
We're still kind of testing them.
Testing it, yeah.
But we're trying to be create a little bit of a buzz around stuff. You know? So we've got our big one of our signature events coming up in June called the Pride in Business Luncheon. During this event, we will give some awards. We'll have our board members, who are all really new to the chamber in terms of serving in that capacity, an opportunity for them to introduce themselves, or to us to introduce them. We'll give kind of a quick overview of where the chamber is, sort of the state of the chamber, and then we'll have a panel discussion. We haven't really decided on the topic just yet, but it's going to be something that is important to the LGBT business community. And so we decided to this time host it out at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel Casino.
Okay.
Super exciting, super fun, and the hotel, they're so willing to work with us. In fact, they decided to not just be the venue for the event; they're the presenting sponsor. So they're working really closely with us, and we're really excited about building that relationship with them. So,
now, is the luncheon for members only, or is it public, or how does that work?
It is for anyone that wants to go. There is a charge to go.
Right.
But sponsorships are available. Individual tickets are available. We should have about 300 to 350 people that come out for it.
That's a great turnout.
And if we have more, I will be so thrilled. Because I really think that the Hard Rock is going to be a big draw for people this year.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah, anything at the Hard Rock usually is successful.
Yeah.
So folks can go on your website for the chamber and find all that information?
Yes, it's www.tampabaylgbtchamber.org.
Okay.
And there's a big banner up on the top of the homepage that says Pride in Business Lunch. Click on that and it'll take you right to the page.
And then remind everyone the date of that?
June 4th.
June 4th. Okay, coming up. Okay. All right.
So just a couple of things to go back on some things that you touched on. So you and I have something in common because I also lived in Houston.
Oh.
In Sugar Land, actually.
Really?
Yes.
My aunt lives in Sugar
Yes.
Land.
And I have relatives that live in the Woodlands.
Okay.
So
and my sister lived in
So we have that
Woodland.
in common. And I feel like, David and I can relate to the whole, Tampa Bay versus St. Pete thing, because I think both of us are board members on Balance Tampa Bay, and we struggle with that as well. Like when we have our social events, we typically alternate between St. Pete one month and then next month it's Tampa and so on and so forth. But we tend to have higher attendance in the St. Pete events versus the Tampa events, and that's been a real big challenge. Every once in a while we will have a Tampa event and it's well attended. I can think of a couple off the top of my head where we had them in Tampa and they were just really well attended for some reason or another. So it's interesting to hear what your perspective is in terms of trying to get the community together, because I do feel like there is a division between, those in the community that live in the Tampa side versus those in the community that live in the St. Pete side.
Yeah.
And I told, this actually came up last episode when we were talking about pet peeves and people not wanting to cross the bridge, because that's one of my pet peeves, because I'll go over to St. Pete all day long. No problem. If there's an event I want to go to, I don't mind driving over the bridge, but getting people to come over to the Tampa side of the bridge is like pulling teeth sometimes.
Well, and here's where I find it really interesting, because I actually thought you lived in St. Pete.
No.
because I've seen you in St. Pete so often.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, doesn't the Hollander have like a bench with your name on it?
Might.
The Paul Pfeiffer bench.
Yeah. No, I mean, so it's really, I mean, it's the challenge, and I'd be curious to find out from you if the venue made a difference for you in terms of the numbers.
I think that
because
has
sometimes
a lot,
it's a draw.
I think that has a lot to do with it. Like I can think of like the one that comes to my head right away. That was a Balance Social, and I'm not sure if you were on the board at that time, but we had one at Eddie V's, and that was really well attended.
Eddie V's, is that the one that is that a steakhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I was at that one.
Yeah. So we had one at Eddie V's.
That's where I first met you, actually.
Yeah, and that was really well attended.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the social media too. If you get out there and you really promote it on social media, it's going to draw a lot of people. Like for Balance, what I typically do is when we have an event, I'll just go down my list of friends and invite, because someone's going to come, right? But a lot of times if you just send out the event and don't actually invite people, they may not see it.
Yeah.
Because Facebook is kind of weird like that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting balance, because we use social media also. And we go through and then we do the invites or whatever. But I get a quicker response when I send out an email blast to our members. I mean, I can see the registrations come through, versus someone seeing it on social media and they may click that they're going, but they still have to go and register on the website for us to know how many people are coming.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a balancing act there. I had one idea that I don't know if we'd ever be able to do it now that the ferry is not going to be a thing, but is to have an event on that ferry that goes across from Tampa to St. Pete.
Yeah.
Started at Tampa or started in St. Pete. Get people to be there by a certain time, network, and then take the ferry over to St. Pete, where there would be more people waiting there that are part of the chamber to get on the boat there. They'll network there, and then get on the boat, bring the boat back to Tampa Bay, and everybody together.
I think that's a genius idea.
Well, the ferry unfortunately stopped in service April 30th.
Yeah.
Do you know, Renee, why they're stopping the ferry service?
I think it's a financial thing.
Okay. Yeah, the last ferry is April 30th.
Yeah.
See, I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's been in the news lately that ferry is not going to be.
But you know
anymore.
what? I bet you could probably just charter a boat. I don't know if it's cost, prohibitive or if it's something you could do. But
and that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my idea of how we kind of bridge that.
Right.
So people don't have to actually go over the bridge.
Yeah.
So
I absolutely love that idea.
But anyway, we'll kind of keep that one on the shelf for at some point it becomes a little bit more doable in terms of like the cost and whatever. So
we recently had an event, the Cool Vibes event, in St. Pete Beach, and we partnered with Project No Labels, and
I was there.
I think we had an amazing turnout for that. I do think also that partnership synergy when you've got more than maybe one or two organizations that also can pull a lot of people out.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And one of the things that I'm bringing to the chamber is developing those strategic partnerships. Mm-hmm. We've got one partnership now with Watermark to host our networking events in the evening. Every other month. Mm-hmm. And the synergy there is we're looking for new members, they're looking for new advertisers. Mm-hmm. So both of our people come together, and it's great networking. And the next one we've got coming up is going to be in St. Pete at Red Mesa Cantina. Really excited about that one.
Yes, I did see that, and I think I marked that I was going to go to that.
Yeah.
So,
well, what would be the date of that event?
That is
check the website for details.
Yes, I believe it's the 21st of May.
Of May, okay. Later May, okay, mid to late May.
But do check the website because we've got all of our events on our calendar. And that should be fun. Yeah,
Red Mesa is an amazing location for events.
And they just joined the chamber.
That's great.
And the energy there is great. And I am bound and determined that because they have a special of margaritas on Monday, to make Monday margarita gay nights at Red Mesa.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
That is totally my goal because in Houston. I don't know if you had to when you were there, but in Houston there was a restaurant called Cafe 𝐷𝐸 that was gay night every Monday. Oh, okay. So literally you would make a reservation for however many people you were bringing with you, and the margaritas were a-flowing, and they were delicious. And their margaritas at Red Mesa are really good. So.
Well, I was 18 when I lived in Houston. So.
What's your point?
You're a baby. I know. You're only 40. I know.
At that point. And,
allegedly.
Yeah, but their margaritas are pretty good.
And I feel like every day is margarita day.
Plus, who doesn't love margaritas and unlimited chips and salsa?
Right.
I mean, isn't that a recipe for like heaven?
Yeah. My Mexican heritage, I have the frozen margarita mix in my freezer that's in case of emergency, break glass kind of thing.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely you need that for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, is Red Mesa where we saw Brianna and Veronica Fox?
So, could be. So the Red Mesa where we saw Veronica Fox and Brianna Summers and Sadie T. Elise when they did the Britney Spears brunch for Epic Health.
I think that was
on 3rd. Yes. Yeah, it was on 3rd Avenue.
Yeah, that was it. It's we're in the same place. And in fact, Brianna is a bartender at Red Mesa Cantina.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even know that.
As Brian. Wow. I don't know if I'm.
Well, she gets around, so yeah, there we go.
Brianna, if I told a secret about you, I am sorry. I have outed you as a bartender.
Oh, Brianna, she's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I love her.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, she's amazing.
So, Renee, you had talked about potentially creating a council of LGBTQ plus attorneys. Mm-hmm. So maybe you could share a little bit about that. Like, what would be the goal, the vision, the objective of that?
So one of the I think the true valuable things of a chamber is its ability to bring businesses together to work towards different projects or different the development of different resources. And actually, the attorneys group is not the only one that I'm considering working. But with the attorneys, I've spoken to some attorneys in town, and over the course of the time that I've been in chamber work, and you always think that attorneys are, competitive against each other. They're who's the first one to run behind that ambulance or chase that ambulance.
Right.
But when you really have a conversation with them, it's really more about there are opportunities amongst different attorney law firms, or individual attorneys to refer business back and forth, or to combine their forces in a certain area of the law. But I think for the LGBT community, we're kind of in a place where our legal community really needs to understand the laws that are being passed and how they would affect LGBT families.
Yeah.
Right.
So whenever I speak to lawyers in town, if they're looking at reaching out to the LGBT community, it's so important for them to understand the impact that would have specifically on, for example, gay marriage. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Gay adoption, we don't know what's going to happen. So to have attorneys that are kind of keeping tabs of those changes, those laws being passed, I think it would be really valuable. So it'd be great to create something like that within the chamber. So the other areas that I'm looking at are in hospitality.
Okay.
Because we really need to reinforce the fact that Tampa Bay Area is a great place for LGBT people to come. We've got
absolutely
our pride festivals.
Right.
We've got
Right.
Our areas of the communities where people can go and feel comfortable. We have our safe space businesses that have proclaimed themselves a safe space to shop. And then the selfish thing on my part is I have my members that are in the communities that could benefit from more tourism. In the past, there have been these travel advisories that have made Florida sort of the place where people that are part of the community, where they don't want to go, because it might be dangerous or it might not be safe or whatever. There's that sense. And we have to work as a community to let people know, specifically in the urban areas in Tampa Bay, they are great places to come and enjoy. I mean, St. Pete Beach, Clearwater.
Yeah, it's bringing the awareness.
Gulfport, Dunedin. I mean,
there really is a
areas.
lot.
Yeah, there's so many great areas. And they're fun. I mean, if you just go and spend an afternoon in one of these places, you get a great time, and it's very relaxing. And the mood here is so kind of laid back and inclusive of our community. So,
yeah, I lived in Miami for almost 20 years before moving to Tampa Bay area, and I will say that's one thing I've really enjoyed about this area is just the inclusion and the support, and then the openness for the community really to embrace the LGBTQ plus population. So it's been really, really refreshing. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then another area that I'd love for us to focus on is people that are professionals in some of the corporate headquarters that are here. You think about these companies that are based in Tampa Bay. They typically will have their employee resource groups. You know about these, and I would love for the chamber to position itself as a place where we could bring those people together from the different companies. To have conversations about how they're navigating whatever these issues are that are coming up. How are they able to engage with their LGBT people? How are they encouraging their LGBT team members to be their authentic selves and to not be afraid of being out at work? There's that sense that that in some corporate environments, you are not comfortable, and then if you're looking at advancing in the company, you kind of make that decision that you should probably go back in the closet. And all those issues that we deal with as LGBT people in the corporate setting,
Right.
I think would be great to have conversations about.
Yeah, and something you may not know about me is I'm not going to name the company that I work for, but Fortune 500 company. I was actually on a panel discussion with the organization on how to create a safe space in the workplace, and spoke about some of the experiences I had early on in my career.
Okay.
Where you did not come out at the time, but me. I mean, it's obvious, it's me, I'm gay.
Well, it's that gay voice.
It's that gay voice.
That gay voice.
There were instances where, I've been called names, I've been slammed up against walls, I've been, early on in my career. So being able to be in a organization that values diversity and inclusion, and especially now in these times when so many companies are rolling back their initiatives, I think is very important.
Yeah, and studies have shown that if you have people on your team that feel comfortable, that can be their authentic selves, that can be out at work, their productivity is going to be greater.
Right.
They'll want to stay at the company if they are embraced. My coming out was it's great. When I was at the I had been out, but when I got hired at the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and the Hispanic community is it can be pretty conservative and pretty not inclusive of LGBT folks. But I was hired by this one of the most dynamic women that I know, and she actually was a mentor for me while I was at that chamber. And I came up to her after we started kind of working together, and I said, look, you need to know that I am a gay man, and she's like this Latina diva, dresses impeccably. And so she was kind of like, of course you are. That's one of the reasons that I hired you. So to keep me in check whenever I'm looking to look great. Okay. So yeah.
Fashion police.
That's funny.
She'll still call me every once in a while just to check up on me. But
that's hilarious. And the other thing that
I don't know about you.
No, the organization that I work for is I'm also a reverse mentor.
Oh,
and
okay.
what that is that I mentor a very senior level manager on how to be a good ally in the workplace.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I talk to them about challenges that the LGBTQ community may have, in the workplace, and what they can do to be better allies, and so on and so forth.
And that's another reason to have a council like what we're talking about with the chamber, so that the people that are part of it can have the tools that they need to help their coworkers to be good allies for them, and then others that might be considering coming out of the closet at the workplace.
Yeah, there's a component of like that culture of the company, and then that education component. Yeah, absolutely. And that mentoring program sounds absolutely amazing.
I've done it for
really
the
cool.
past
That is really
2
cool.
or 3 years now.
Okay.
And it's always gone really, really well.
Wow.
And it's very rewarding.
And the important part of that is having higher level folks that are bought into the fact that needs to happen.
Absolutely. Leadership, culture.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no buy-in from the top, then you're
absolutely right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So and it brings me back to our lunch. So far we've got I think over 10 sponsors already.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
And it's a time when a lot of our corporate folks are starting to pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
In some of that visibility.
Okay.
So I'm really happy that we're doing as well as we are so far. And my message to them is, we totally understand, what you're thinking, but now more than ever, we need your support. Our community needs to be supported by folks like you, who have the resources to make sure that our events, that our programs, are successful, and that we have the resources that we need to be important for the people that we serve.
I think that's really important that you highlighted that. It really just potentially some folks are, pulling back, but the importance really right now is not only step forward, but step forward again.
Yeah, and if there's big picture issues that you're concerned about, let's talk about them. Let's figure out. I mean, if you decide to still support us, but you'd rather not have your logo, we're okay with that.
Right.
We'll counsel you on that, and we'll try to encourage you to be present because of the importance that visibility brings. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you are at a good place in your support for company or for organizations like ours.
Right, absolutely.
So if someone wants to become a member, how do they become a member?
We have business memberships that are available, and you can go through that process at our website, which again is www.tampabay.lgbtchamber.org.
Okay.
And there's a big button at the top right hand that says join.
Awesome.
And that'll start the process for you.
Okay.
Now, if there are specific programs or services that you're looking for that you may not know about or that you may not see on our website, I encourage you to reach out to me because we want to make sure that we're providing the value that people need to be a part of the chamber. And the other thing is we are also looking for LGBT business owners. There is a national certification program that works very similar to the minority certification, women's certification, that certifies you as an enterprise that is specifically part of the LGBT community.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it opens up opportunities potentially with procurement of contracts through the hospitals or municipalities or big companies. And puts these folks in partnership with a lot of our corporate sponsors.
Okay, that's great.
And the benefit of it for the business is if they're members of the chamber, that whole process is free of charge.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Typically, it'll cost about $1,000.
Wow, that's an amazing benefit. Wow.
Yeah. So literally, and one of our challenges is I know that there are more LGBT business owners in Tampa Bay. Maybe not in St. Pete, maybe not in Tampa, maybe not in Sarasota, but this benefit is available to them if they want to come and be a part of the chamber.
Excellent. Wow, that's cool. Great value add. If maybe there was one final message that you want listeners to kind of take away from our conversation today, what would that be? Really just the fact that that the LGBT business community is a thriving, it is a worthwhile community to be a part of. And as a Chamber of Commerce, we want to make sure people are able to tap in. So I encourage everyone to come and be a part of our organization. If you want to come to some of our events just to check it out, please do that. We will not turn anybody away. We want to welcome folks that want to be part of our community, right? And to be part of an important network that is in Tampa Bay. Wow, I'm so happy that we had you on today to bring this awareness to the community. Sure. Any final words from you, Paul? Or
no final words except for if you want to be a guest on the Skittle Squad podcast, or if you want to sponsor this show, you can reach us at contact@theskittlesquad.com.
Rene, thank you again for being on today. Thank you guys for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the conversation and in particular the spiciness that I see. Thank you very much. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up, and everyone stay tuned next week to see what t-shirt Paul might be wearing. Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye.